Hello, beautiful people. Okay, we're almost to the finish line with this chapter. Last this is to complete the self-sabotaging behaviors, chapter 6 from The Power of Oneness, Sandra Brosman. Okay, 6, the resistor role, basic belief issue, openness to change. Another sure way to limit our potential is to resist the flow of change in our lives. This is a very self-deluding perception because the process of change is the essence of life. We can participate in it or we can just let it happen to us. When we absolutely have to change the direction of our lives, as in the case of being fired from a job, our opposition is strong enough to leave a trail of skid marks behind it. Life becomes a waiting game. It is like hiding in a closet and waiting for a guarantee that everything will be forever safe outside before we agree to come out. When we play this role, we are saving up our lives for retirement, and chances are that when it comes, we will feel too old, too poor, and or too tired to make any changes. We dance back and forth between the past and the future, believing it is either too soon or too late to write a book, go to college, change jobs, get married, buy a house, have children, sign up for yoga classes, take dance lessons, go on a trip, or learn a foreign language. Sadly, the one place and time in which we are totally absent is the only time that is real, the present. The emotional dividend here is that we get to say, I didn't make the wrong choice. But is this true? Is there anything more painful than being stuck in the past and feeling helpless to make changes? When we are in the present, we can always create new possibilities by choosing new perceptions. Of course. Yes, choosing new perceptions. That's the thing I think a lot of people forget, like as being an adult, like we have a choice. Every day I look at it as every day there's an opportunity to make a different choice, to be better, whatever it is. But you have to want it, right? I'm going to read to you in the next one, couple solos coming up, probably the next one, The Self-Confidence Formula by Napoleon Hill. It's from Think and Grow Rich. And I really should have started that in the beginnings of when my podcast I probably would say from day one, but basically going into doing this coaching specifically in these other different areas and solos on my own, because that's really all that it's about. Like if you don't have that not only desire, but if you're not able to see that there's an innate power inside of you and you can reclaim it, I like to use that terminology, reclaim it, then trying to do any of this stuff, I'm not saying trying, but I feel like it makes you more open and it helps drive you because you believe in yourself, right? It's different. Somebody else can believe in you. They can say, oh, you're beautiful, or, you can accomplish anything. But if you don't believe it, like you don't believe it, it's the same thing about being told you're pretty. Like, oh, that's nice. You think that, but I don't really think that, and it took a really long time for me to believe that about myself, specifically being pretty on any level or degree. So, okay, resisting the flow of change. I think also what I wanted to say about that is I'm definitely, so there's a difference between knowing and feeling. And the same thing you could say for love, right? You know that you're loved, but you don't feel like you are. So I don't think that I resist the flow of change in my life, but because so many things have not made sense over the past couple of years in my life, and especially in regards to my career, I must be resisting in some sort of way. And that's where I would recommend hypnosis, tapping, all these different things, because it's just, it's not a talk. It's not talking your way out of, I don't believe in resisting. All that I can do is, yes, pay attention to my words, but that's not apparently enough. And it also just has to be divine timing, I think, as well, for me and my journey. Okay, moving on. Skeptic role. Number 7. Trust in the universe. This is a role of not trusting in a spiritual power beyond our material world because we believe that unless something can be perceived by our physical senses, it cannot exist. This belief system, centering on self as an independent entity, isolates our mind and body from our higher spiritual self. Believing that we are separate within ourselves, we also feel separated and disconnected from our fellow humans and our entire environment. If we do not believe in our connection to a higher universal wisdom, we are unable to trust our right brain intuitive thinking. As a result, we come locked into left brain paradigms and try to control others by demanding they substantiate their ideas, insights, and philosophies to accommodate our limited logical perspective on life. Since we do not believe we can call upon a supreme being to regenerate ourselves, we look to other people to inspire us and replenish our energy. Not surprisingly, it can be exhausting to be around someone who is functioning in this role. The rationalization we use for holding on to this belief is that we claim it is naive and weak to believe we can trust in a benevolent spiritual energy beyond our physical existence to provide us with loving support. We need to ask ourselves, is this philosophy of life perpetuating joy, harmony, peace, and love within our lives? Where do we find our source of renewal and inspiration? After doing this exercise, some of us may be feeling a twinge of self-justification. We might feel entitled to exhibit any or all of these pain behaviors because of having been hurt many times. One could say, of course I act like a victim. You would too if your house were robbed, your car died, and you lost your job all in the same year like I have. Certainly, these are the types of situations that hurt our feelings. Feelings require no explanation. They simply are what they are and accordingly deserve honest expression. Evaluating the reasons we feel the way we do is a vital step in our emotional recovery. However, we get caught in our own trap of self-despair if we endlessly analyze all the reasons we are holding on to our negative emotional patterns. When we continue to do this, eventually we feel paralyzed. We feel split in half. We threaten an emotional strike because the two sides of our brain are in a standoff. Our right brain says, if you want to change your life, change your perspective. And the other half argues, oh yeah, well, I'll change my outlook on life when my situation gets better. Round and round we go like a labor strike. If we cannot reach an internal agreement, there will be a shutdown. How many times have we emotionally shut down because we got so caught up in analyzing and rationalizing our individual dramas that we failed to see the larger life view? At some point, we need to decide that we have sufficient information and awareness to make a conscious choice to move on to a higher perspective. As we evolve in our spiritual growth, we can rise above our day-to-day traumas and see a much broader overview of the emotional patterns in our life experiences. As we rise to this observer role, we begin to see that the universe provides us with a tailor-made curriculum designed to specifically challenge the areas in which we most need to grow. For example, if we are constantly surrounded by people whom we perceive to be domineering and controlling, perhaps we are accommodating them by engaging in the victim role syndrome. Or if we sense that we are always struggling to experience abundance in our lives, maybe we need to address the fact that we have been playing the selfless, I am not worthy of goodness role. When we are ready to let go of our self-sabotaging behaviors, we can literally reprogram one or all of our basic beliefs to move from perceptions of fear and separation to perceptions rooted in self-love and the truth of our oneness with the universe. We accomplish this through the process of affirmations. Okay, that was a lot. So, yes, affirmations can work. That's why I also like to recommend, you've heard me talk about the tapping. the finger holding, all of these different things that incorporate all of our senses and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not just like I said, you can't just wake up and say, it's not like you can't, but I mean, just waking up and being like, okay, I'm going to start saying that I am beautiful every day or whatever it is. I mean, yes, of course, go ahead and do that. And she goes on to talk about this, but it's not like you just do it and okay, I'm all fixed now. And so that's why, as far as like programming the subconscious and doing it in those other ways that I just described is really beneficial, because if you're just expecting that to work on its own, I'm going to tell you that that has not worked for me. I've, I, I need it in many different ways. So I can't just, like I said, like I could post that on a mirror and read it every day, and while it helps me, but like that's not the one solution, which is why I recommend all of these other things that we do. But this book was, I think this was written in early 2000s, so maybe for her, and you know, it really worked for her to only just do them. um but yeah, it's a whole process, people. So okay, what else did I really want to say? I guess really the point of all of this is sharing with you is just giving you different ways to kind of look at yourself, people. And you might relate to some of these. One of these you got to, I'm sure. But just, you know, kind of just bringing it up like, hey, like, are these things that you do? Is this something you want to change? You think this is cool? Like, what do you like to be like this, you know? Because all this personal growth stuff is about assessing your potential, I guess to say. Addressing potential, seeing maybe how again you perceive life, and opening you up to all the possibilities of having an abundant life and being happy. And I think that I will end by saying, I've said this before, actually only like maybe like once, because so many episodes I've done now, is one of my, okay, so happiness I've realized is not a destination, right? And if I want to keep it, if I want to be happy, then I have to maintain it. And I know that it's fleeting, right? So it's fleeting, it comes and goes. But what I do know is that, hands down, I can say one of the reasons that I have become happier as a person is that I don't, I guess I would say, overcome negative thinking about myself. It doesn't mean I don't have those thoughts now, but because I've grown so much and become so extroverted when I want to, because I definitely, you know, I respect and love my quiet time and isolation and things like that. I was such an introvert, but as I became more extroverted and just talking and laughing and becoming more and more like understanding myself and expressing and everything that I've gone through in my personal journey, you know, from introvert to more extrovert, that's how I can tell you is that I look back at myself, and even as a teenager, right, feeling like a third wheel with my two friends or whatever it was, and I would just be quiet. Like it was almost like I was mad at being a third wheel, and that's because they were having fun and being loud, and I felt left out, right? And then later on, I realized actually how to include myself. So a lot of these things, it's almost like I've forgotten what it's like things are distorted. I don't know to say distorted. They happened so long ago, and you'd have to really ask me directly, because it's almost like, okay, opening my own business inside of that salon and just learning the social skills and learning how to talk and actually saying nice to meet you to people, which I never thought I would. And then after self defense, and just so much has changed me driving on the word, on the road, on the word, driving on the road, how I've in Sacramento here, because the traffic can be so crazy and people not letting you over. It's like basic things like that, that I've just grown so much. And a lot of it is a result of self defense and having to push myself and being intimidated by doing certain drills and thinking they're not going to beat me because or they are going to beat me because they are stronger than me. And which is I was just able to convince myself that I was strong too, and I just talked to myself like that. So anyway, people, the book, The Power of Oneness, Live the Life You Choose, Sandra Brosman, not sure how to pronounce that. She has a lot of great stuff in here, and I love the questions that she asks, and these are things that I would ask. So I hope this provided some sort of value that, you can take away. And like I said, if you're curious about learning about yourself and you want to know more, this is a way to do it. And this is just along the path of just understanding more in life and about self-love and worth and how important it is, the worth, especially what goes on and continues to go on in the media when it comes to physical looks. And you just see people plastering it all over the place, and that's going to continue forever. And I bring that up, that is for another show, but just thinking that all, like, that's all that matters and how much attention you're getting. And think about the people that are always told they're pretty and beautiful and sexy and hot all the time, and that's all they're told over and over again their entire lives. And something maybe about their appearance changes and they're not getting that attention anymore. Then what happens? You know, there are stories of that, lots of depression, lots of different things. So that is all for tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will be reading to you more from my other different types of books over the years. And like I said, the different things that I do, like I've said before, within my coaching is that I offer tools, tips, resources from other people that I've also, I've learned from. So definitely within my different talks and the way that I run my whole coaching system thing is like, I'm trying to find you the best. And these are the things that have helped me, and I am not afraid nor anything to share these other people's work. I never claim it to be my own. I am always talking about, my different types of mentors and different things because there's so many great things out there. And I've read so much and researched so much and my own experience and just everything that I'm glad to be able to share it with you here today and every day. If any of this helps you in any in any way, and I will continue to give more personal examples. Um, yeah, more personal examples. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye.